Dari 7 kan?
Iya, benar.
Udah jangan gibah.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good
Waalaikumsalam
morning.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, good morning everyone. We are from group 11 and let me to introduce our group previously. And my name is Maulina Susanti and my friends Desi Ramawati and Henry Aprilian Nugroho. This time we want presentation about semiotic dimension, cohesion, and thematic information structure. Okay, let's us to start. Semiotic dimension. The definition of semiotic dimension is a crucial aspect in discourse analysis, particularly in the context of translation studies. Semiotics is the study of signs and symbols, and it plays a significant role in understanding the meaning-making processes involved in discourse analysis. The next is semiotic dimension in discourse analysis and translation. The semiotic dimension is essential in discourse analysis for understanding how meaning is constructed and negotiated through language and other scenes. And then cohesion in translation. Cohesion is the grammatical and lexical connection within a text or sentence, ensuring its meaning and ensuring its accessibility to the target audience. Cohesion have two kind. The first is grammatical cohesion, and the second is lexical cohesion. And one we want to talk about grammatical cohesion. Grammatical cohesion in translation is the use of grammatical devices like reference, substitution, ellipsis, and conjunction to establish relationships between elements within a text, ensuring a coherent and meaningful structure. And this is one of type of grammatical cohesion. This is reference. Reference is type of cohesion involves referring back to previously mentioned entities and avoid repetition. And there is examples. The taxi driver was very friendly. He smiled at everyone. And the second example is the younger child was very outgoing, the older much more reserved. The second type of grammatical cohesion is substitution. Substitution is a type of cohesion involves replacing a specific word with a more general one to maintain coherence. The third of grammatical cohesion is ellipsis. Ellipsis involves omitting words when repeating a phrase to maintain coherence. The last of grammatical cohesion is conjunction. These types of cohesion involves using conjunctions to link clauses and create connections between different parts of a text. And next, we want to talk about types of cohesion, lexical cohesion. And it will be continued by Desi Rahmawati. Go on, Desi.
Okay, thank you. The next is about types of cohesion or lexical cohesion. Lexical cohesion in translation
Sepertinya nge-lag. Oke, Desi, bisa dilanjut? Halo.
Okay.
Oke,
Halo.
ya, oke. Silakan dilanjut.
Okay, it's done. So let's go to the next presentation or next slide. Okay. The first thing first is about repetition. Repetition is the repeated use of a word of praise to reinforce a concept, creating cohesion through the repetition of the same phrase. Example, the scientist present his research findings. His research findings were groundbreaking. Next. The second is about synonymy. Synonymy, a technique that helps to avoid monotonous sentence by using similar words to maintain meaning. For example, the children enjoy the play. The youngsters were delighted by the performance. Next. The third is about antonymy. Antonymy is employ the use of anatomies and opposite to create contrast and emphasize relationships. For example, the room was spacious, unlike the cramped quarters they were used to. Next. The fourth is about hyponymy. Hyponymy involve using general words that encompass the meanings of specific words, while hyponymy involves using hierarchical relationships such as specific type within a category. For example, roses and lilies were particularly beautiful. Next. The fifth is about collocation. Collocation, the use of frequently occurring words to create a familiar and expected combination. For example, they made a decision. It was a tough choice. Next. Importance of cohesion in translation. Lexical cohesion is crucial in translation as it ensures consistency, logical flow, and reader engagement by using familiar word combination. It helps preserve integrity and readability of the original text, making the translated version clear, cohesive, and engaging. This is especially important when translating between languages from different families, such as Indonesian and English, where grammatical and lexical structure may differ. Therefore, attention to lexical cohesion is vital in translation. Next. About the thematic and information structure in translation will be presented by Henry.
Okay, thank you, Desi. Now I will explain about thematic and information structure in translation. What is thematic structure in translation? Thematic structure is the arrangement of information within a text to ensure coherence and meaning. It involves selecting and arranging known themes and new information reams, which are the parts of the text that are presented to the audience. This structure is crucial for ensuring that the audience can follow the flow of ideas. And then for information structure, it refers to the distribution of known and unknown information within a text guiding the reader's understanding by presenting familiar information before introducing new concepts. And given information is already familiar and serves as a foundation for new information, while new information is introduced for the first time, providing new insight or details. Next. So, thematic structure is a crucial aspect of discourse analysis that ensures the coherence and clarity of a text by organizing information within a sentence. And thematic structure consists of two main components, include theme and frame. Next. So the first is theme. Theme. The theme is the part of a sentence that outlines the subject matter and provides context for the rest of the sentence. It can be a participant, process, or circumstance. The theme is typically the first element in a clause and serves as the point of departure for the message. It usually appears at the beginning of the sentence. And the second is frame. The frame is the part of a sentence that introduces new information about the theme, extending or developing it. It can be a participant, process, or circumstance, and it provides the new information being presented. The frame follows the theme and elaborates on it, providing a comprehensive understanding of the message. So these are examples of thematic structure. The first, one simple sentence, the cat is on the mat. For theme is the cat and frame is on the mat. The second is complex sentence. In the morning, the children play in the park. For theme is in the morning and the frame is the children play in the park. And the third, in emphasis shift, the cake was eaten by John. The theme is the cake and the frame was eaten by John. And the fourth is different word order. For example, John ate the cake. For the theme is John and the frame is ate the cake. And next, for information structure. Information structure in translation is a key concept in discourse analysis that deals with how information is presented within a text to make it coherent and comprehensible for the reader. It involves the strategic arrangement of given, known, and the new, which is unknown information. And it consists of two main components. The first is given information, and the second is new information. Okay, for first, given information. What is given information? Given information is familiar or common knowledge that serves as a foundation for introducing new information. It is mentioned in the text or can be inferred from the context. And given information is part of the sentence that is already known or familiar to the audience, often the term or topic providing context for the new information. Next. And new information is a part of a sentence that is new or unknown to the audience, often found in the frames or comments, and it provides additional details like insights or developments that build on the given information. And this information is often emphasized in the sentence as it is what the reader needs to learn. Next. So these are examples information structure. In simple sentence, John bought a new car. The car is very fast. For the given information is the car, since it was mentioned in the previous sentence, and the new information is very fast. And second, in complex sentence, in the park, children were playing. The children were laughing and running around. For the given information is the children, because it introduced in the previous sentence, and the new information is were laughing and running around. And the example in emphasizing new information is the company launched a new product and the product features advanced technology. For the given information is the product and the new information is features advanced technology. Next. So the importance of thematic and information structure is crucial for creating coherence, meaning, and discourse organization in translation. Information structure links given and new information, making it easier for the audience to follow the flow of ideas, and it ensures the text conveys the intent, meaning by organizing the information logically. And in translation, maintaining the proper flow or of given and new information is essential for preserving coherence and readability. Properly structuring sentence to introduce given information before new information helps guide the reader smoothly through the text. And for the conclusion, what this presentation is, cohesion is the grammatical and lexical connection within a text, crucial for conveying meaning and accessibility. And it includes grammatical and lexical cohesion, which ensures consistency and readability. And thematic and information structure are also essential for coherence and meaning, arranging familiar information for new concepts. Proper structuring ensures smooth reader comprehension and maintains the original text integrity. And for the next, kembali ke Susan. Silakan.
Okay, thank you Bang Henry and Desi. Okay guys, that is our presentation about semiotic dimension, cohesion, and thematic information structure. And we are sorry if we have a pause. And finally, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you all. Bye.